There are things that happen during the NFL offseason that most fans don't pay close attention to, especially when they're not headline-worthy or filled with drama. But every once in a while, something meaningful happens that actually tells you everything you need to know about a team's mindset, its leadership, and its goals. That's exactly what happened when Dak Prescott took every one of the Dallas Cowboys' offensive skill players on a private retreat. This is not a drill. This is real leadership, and it matters. Now I know, you probably didn't hear about this on ESPN. You didn't see a push notification from any of the major sports apps. There wasn't a segment on First Take, but let me ask you something, why not? Why isn't this being talked about? Why aren't people acknowledging what this actually represents? Dak Prescott, year after year, gathers his guys, wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, running backs, and he takes them away from the cameras, away from the coaches, away from the noise. It's a player-led initiative, totally separate from team obligations. No playbooks, no scripts, just bonding, workouts, training, and connection. It's the kind of thing that should make headlines because it's about building trust. It's about chemistry, it's about unity. But instead, silence. This isn't just a one-off event either. Dak's been doing this retreat for years. And it's not just tossing a football around in a park. It's real connection, the kind of connection that translates into trust on third and long, into confidence when the game's on the line. That's something you can't fake. Think about how often we hear stories about Patrick Mahomes working out with his receivers in the offseason, or Jalen Hurts training in the rain with A.J. Brown. Those moments get coverage. They get airtime, they get praised, but Dak, he brings his entire offense together, covers the costs, sets the tone, and it barely gets a whisper. Let me ask you something directly. Do you think this kind of team bonding actually shows up during games? Let's talk about that in the comments. I really want your opinion. And while you're at it, help me out, vote yes or no in the comments. Should this annual retreat be getting national coverage? Because if it were any other quarterback, it would be everywhere. If you're rocking with this type of real, behind-the-scenes insight, do me a favor, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. We're on a mission to hit 15,000 subscribers, and we can't do it without real Cowboys fans like you. This channel is for us, for people who actually care about what happens in the locker room, not just the headlines. Let's talk about why this Dak Prescott retreat didn't get national coverage, because this right here, the part that really gets under my skin. The reason this didn't show up on major sports networks has nothing to do with relevance and everything to do with narrative. The truth is, positive stories about Dak Prescott don't sell, and the media knows it. They're not trying to highlight leadership or character unless it feeds into something negative. And when something good happens, something that actually deserves attention, they turn the other way. Now, if Dak had missed a workout, if one of the wideouts skipped the trip, you can bet it would have been front-page news. They'd be speculating for days about locker room tension, chemistry issues, distractions. But because everyone showed up, because the vibe was strong, because it's Dak being a real leader, they act like it never happened. And that's the playbook. That's the game they run every off-season. Just look at what Colin Cowherd said recently. This man went on air and predicted the Cowboys are going to get embarrassed this season, that Dak is going to fall apart, and that offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer will be fired before the year ends. He said the Commanders and Eagles are going to blow us out twice, and that Jerry Jones will pull the plug by Thanksgiving. Like, come on. That's not analysis, that's clickbait. That's manufacturing negativity just to get people riled up. And the sad part, it works because drama sells. And anything related to the Cowboys gets magnified, especially if it's critical. That's the cycle we're caught in. The national media has trained casual fans to believe that Dak isn't clutch, that he's not a leader, that he's somehow holding this team back. And every time he proves otherwise, they just look away. So here's the thing, why do you think that is? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is it just about ratings? Or is there something deeper going on with the way they talk about Doc and the Cowboys? If you're with me on this, if you're tired of seeing the narrative twisted, do your part. Hit that like button right now. Let's push this video into the algorithm so the real story gets out. And if you're new here, subscribe to Cowboys News TV. We're not here to follow the mainstream, we're here to tell the truth. Now let's talk about who actually showed up to this retreat and why that matters more than most people realize. It wasn't just Doc and a couple of veterans. We're talking the entire skill position group, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, and even quarterbacks not guaranteed to make the final roster. That kind of turnout says a lot about the guy leading the charge. It shows that Dak Prescott isn't just a starting quarterback, he's the center of the locker room. Culture, CeeDee Lamb was there, of course. That connection with Dak has been growing stronger every year, whether the media wants to talk about it or not. But one of the biggest surprises, George Pickens. Yeah, the same George Pickens people said was going to be a diva, a locker room problem, hard to manage, that narrative, completely off. He showed up ready to work, ready to connect, and from everything we've heard behind the scenes, he's been nothing but engaged, focused, and a great teammate. This is a guy who wasn't even required to be there. This retreat isn't mandatory. It's not part of any team-organized activities. So when Pickens chooses to be part of it, it tells you a lot about where his head is at, and it tells you even more about the kind of atmosphere Doc is creating. It's one thing to lead by talking, it's another thing to lead in a way that makes guys want to follow. And it wasn't just Pickens and Lamb. Jalen Tolbert was there. Jake Ferguson was there, even Joe Milton, the quarterback people are saying might try to take Doc's job in the future. He was invited, and he showed up. Think about that. Most quarterbacks wouldn't bring along the guy people say is their replacement. But Doc did. Why? Because he's about team first. He's about chemistry, and honestly, that shows a level of confidence and maturity that should be getting praised, not ignored. Let me ask you straight up, were you surprised to hear George Pickens was part of this retreat? Let's talk about that in the comments. Do you think it's a sign he's bought into the Cowboys culture already? And if you're starting to feel like something is changing with this team, if you feel the shift that's happening inside that locker room, hit that subscribe button. We're not just covering the headlines here. We're breaking down the things that actually shape the season working out. Yes, they're running routes, catching passes, staying sharp. But that's not what makes this special. What really matters is what happens after the drills, when the cleats come off and the conversations start. That's when trust is built. That's where the real chemistry is forged. Jesse Holley, former Cowboys receiver, broke this down perfectly. He said it's not about the 2 or 3 hours of workouts they matter, sure, but it's the time in between. It's sitting around talking life, family, goals. It's finding out who a guy is outside the helmet. Because when you build that kind of connection, when you really know your teammate, you play harder for them, you go the extra yard. And when adversity hits, you don't splinter, you lock in tighter. That's what this retreat creates. It's what Jesse called being willing to go a little bit further for someone you actually care about. And that's something stats can't measure, but you better believe it shows up on the field. When it's 3rd and 9 and the game's on the line, that trust, that bond, it matters. It wins games, and let's not forget they're bonding in ways most teams never even think about. They're out on the golf course together. Just recently, Doc and the quarterbacks were playing in a tournament, having a blast, just enjoying each other's company. And sure, it's golf, not football, but even there, Doc was clutch. On the final putt, pressure on, he sunk it. His guys celebrated like they just won a playoff game. That kind of energy that carries over. These are the little things that fuel momentum when training camp rolls around. Now I know some fans might scoff and say, who cares about golf? But ask yourself this, do you think moments like that build the kind of trust and confidence that helps during a tough game? Let's talk about it in the comments. I really want to know how you feel about that side of team culture. And listen, if you believe leadership goes beyond the stat sheet, if you believe these types of moments matter, hit that like button and show some love. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We're pushing hard to get to 15,000 subscribers, and every single one of you makes a difference. Here's the bottom line, and I want you to really take this in: if the national media won't tell the truth about Dak Prescott and this Cowboys team, then it's on us to do it. That's what Cowboys Nation is about. That's what this channel is about. If they're not going to shine a light on the leadership, the preparation, the sacrifice, then we will. Because this retreat isn't just a feel-good story, it's a statement. It's a glimpse into the culture Dak is building and the brotherhood that's forming behind closed doors. This is the stuff you don't see unless you're paying attention. It's not flashy, it's not controversial, but it's real and it matters. That golf trip with the quarterbacks? That moment when Dak sank the winning putt and the entire crew exploded like they just won the NFC title game. That's not just fun and games. That's a leader building a bond that's going to show up in crunch time. That's a quarterback creating an environment where guys believe in each other. And when players believe, they fight harder. They don't give up. They hold the line. And don't forget, if George Pickens had missed this retreat, the media would have twisted it into drama. They would have said he wasn't buying in, but because he did show up, because everyone's vibing, it's radio silence. That right there tells you everything. Positivity doesn't sell unless we make it. So I'm asking you right now, are you ready to flip the narrative? Are you ready to take control of the conversation about our quarterback, our team, our future? Then join this movement. Hit the like button, drop a comment, share this video, and most importantly, subscribe to Cowboys News TV so we can keep growing this community. Let's hit that 15,000 mark together and keep pushing real Cowboys content to the front. And if you're feeling what I'm feeling, let me know in the comments. Do you believe this off-season energy is going to carry over into the season? Let's get that conversation going, because what's happening right now, it's the foundation. And trust me, if we keep building like this, we're going to see something special.